Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here to share some of the books I've been reading so far in 2025. I've got 3 books for you guys today. The first, titled The Courage to Be Disliked, the Japanese phenomenon that shows you how to change your life and achieve real happiness, by Ichiro Kashimi and Fumitake Koga. I started this book in January. I made myself a promise that I would not finish it. I would not read anything else until I finished it, and some nights I regretted that decision, but ultimately, by the time I was done, this book has kind of become life-changing, to say the least. It definitely changed my perception in a lot of things, and I absolutely recommend it for everybody, regardless of the age. I would say, honestly, 15 and up. I read a review where someone said, "Oh yeah, this is a book for 20-year-olds," and it's like, I am not 20, but people start life in different stages, different situations, so on and so forth. You get to where you're going when you get there. So for my big age, this was still very life affirming, but changing, and has made me look forward to the future. So what is this book about? Well, it's about the idea that we are responsible for our own happiness and unhappiness, and that all problems are relational. Basically, like, to be human is to have problems, because it's impossible to not interact with other human beings. Even if you lock yourself in your house 365 days a year, you're still gonna have to interact with like the mailman, the people who fix your house, so on and so forth. So, like, again, to be human is to have relational problems. That in focusing on ourselves and the things within our control and letting other people focus on themselves, like, that's the key to a good and sane life. It's kind of a very enlightened way of looking at the idea of mind your business and let other people do them. But with actual like steps on how that works, as opposed to it just being like a witty saying. It also touches upon the fact that living this kind of life, being someone with the courage to be disliked, might you might not like not being liked. Like, everyone wants to be liked, but again, people might not like you. People, not even might not, people will not like you, because again, you can only control yourself and the things within your sphere, and you have to learn how to be okay with, other people controlling themselves, and them controlling themselves might look like not liking you.
When it comes down to disappointing other people or disappointing yourself, choose other people all the time. In fact, it is your job in life to disappoint as many people as you can, so that you do not disappoint yourself.
And it turns right back on its head that, again, we are solely responsible for our own happiness, not anybody else out there. Some of the key points it touches on: self-acceptance is essential, take responsibility for your own actions, living authentically, letting go of the past, focusing on the present and future, and not on your past traumas. Also, embracing the courage to be disliked. So how is the book structured? The book is very much so a conversational structure between this young kid and this philosopher, and this kid just being rude and brash and trying to refute all of the premises or the question of the idea, like, is happiness something we choose? Do we choose to be unhappy? And over the course of the 5 conversations, the philosopher helps the student understand how each of us is able to determine the direction of our own life, free from the shackles of past trauma and the expectations of others. This book does such a great job, honestly. It guides you through the concepts of self-forgiveness, self-care, and mind decluttering. When I was reading this book, I started highlighting moments that kind of just stuck to me. There were some times where I wrote, like, the audacity. How dare this book read me for Phil? There were moments where I felt like this book knew me more than I knew me, and I did not like that. I was like, who you think you is? But yeah. Their chapters titled "People Always Choose Not to Change," and again, it's a conversational style on, getting you to the idea that, again, people ultimately, someone wants to change, they're going to change. And if they don't, they're not. Alderian psychology, which is what this is based on, is a psychology of courage. Your unhappiness cannot be blamed on your past or your environment. And it isn't that you lack competence, you just lack courage. One might say you're lacking in the courage to be happy. And I agree. So yeah, the book just I absolutely say everyone. I think anyone 15 and up should read this book. I think it's really good. Myself, as I always call myself now, a reformed people pleaser. I'm someone who has just always wanted everyone around me to be happy, but sometimes that ends up looking like not having boundaries, as to having people, you know, take from you and then you becoming resentful of that, or past trauma is hindering you from feeling like you can move forward. And then, just always, just something as simple as the bitch down the hall from you at your workplace driving you insane. Like, again, it goes back to the idea that all problems are relational problems.
Most of life is just ordinary. You got to learn how to be happy alone. You got to be happy a little bored. You got to be happy when things are hard. You got to learn how to be satisfied when you failed and things don't go your way, because all of that keeps you getting up.
One of the way the book tries to present the ideas is by basically this thing called task. Your task, other people's task, and sort of understanding how to navigate that and how to make sure you're not taking too much on, and why are you taking on too much if you are. Another chapter touches on do not live to satisfy the expectation of others. So I'll just go through some of the chapters, and how to separate tasks, how to discard other people's tasks, how to rid yourself of interpersonal relational problems. So here's a good line I circled down. First, one should ask, whose task is this? Whose task is this? Then do the separation of tasks. Calmly delineate up to what point one's own tasks go, and from what point they become another person's task. And do not intervene in other people's tasks, or allow even a single person to intervene in one's own task. Y'all, I'm not joking with you. This book says some things that I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Here's a chapter on what real freedom is. Not wanting to be disliked by other people. To human beings, it's an entirely natural desire and an impulse. Kant, the giant of modern philosophy, calls this desire inclination. And it talks about that inclination to be liked and what that looks like and how it kind of gets murky at times. One of the many big things, again, literally, courage to be disliked on the title. How do you get to that point, right? Like, why, I think I'm very much a person that goes, or they used to go, I don't care if that person like me. I don't care what if they don't like. But like, what does that look like? And is the way you're actually performing that healthy? Here's a paragraph. However, it is absolutely impossible to live all alone in the universe. In light of what we have discussed until now, the conclusion we reach regarding what is freedom should be clear. The youth asks, what is it? In short, that freedom is being disliked by other people. And he's like, huh? What was that? And he's like, it's that you are disliked by someone. It is proof that you are exercising your freedom and living in freedom, and a sign that you are living in accordance with your own principles. And the cost of freedom in interpersonal relationship is that one is disliked by other people. Now, guys, I can't read lines and segments that popped out to me like it's gonna mean anything to you guys, but I do hope it kind of makes an impression. So while there's so much more I can say, I just want to put it to you guys again, really recommending this book. It's been life-changing for me. If you kind of want to be able to not, I don't want to say not be so emotionally affected, because one thing this book really does, like, emotion is not the problem. Like, wanting to help people is not the problem, but it's sometimes the way we go about it. And sometimes we need to be really honest with ourselves in why we go about things the same way. This book has been so helpful in helping me navigate toxic situations and relations, whether in personal and or professional. And I want that for everyone because, again, it goes right back to that people pleaser part of me. But if you don't, like, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe my next book will be more towards your liking. What is that next book you say? Well, this book was my improvement book, and the next book is my funny book. I've reviewed volume 1 and 2 on the channel already, so check that out if you haven't. The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish, volume 3. Volume 4 will be coming or will be delivered to me next week. I cannot wait. Now, I don't want to go, all the way back into, like, what is this book about? Like, volume 3, like, we're 2 books in. Watch the other videos. But, just quick snippet. Again, it's about Li Yu, who comes from the modern world. He transmigrates into this ancient Chinese world where there's a system, there's a computer system, Skynet in his brain. It's like, you got to do all these things so this guy doesn't kill you. And he's like a fish. And so he has like all these challenges that he has to do, kind of like level up to become human and stay human. And by volume 3, they're boyfriends now. Guys, they're boyfriends now. So volume 3, it's all about the progression of Li Yu and Prince Jing's relationship. Prince Jing is, in deciding to fight for their relationship, has also decided to fight for the throne because power and protection and all of that good stuff. So in order for him to fight for the throne, his father, the emperor, instructs him to go to the western border where there's been a lot of issues happening and like calm the the little like banditry rebellion nonsense that's been happening. And if he's successful, this will show that he might possibly be able to take on the throne, even though he is mute. Going back to the disabled part of our prince here, guys, he can't talk. He's been mute since like birth. So by this point, a couple of the front row crown princes have been taken out. The only adult princes left are Prince Jing and the 6th prince. All the other princes in possible contentions are like preteens and younger. Like, the king ain't gonna live forever now, or the emperor's not gonna live forever. So he and Li Yu go to the west. They leave his boyfriends and they come back and Li Yu comes back and has his consort. It's the cutest thing. Because in this world, like, it's not illegal or a thing that men marry other men, or like you take in a man as your concubine, but you can't take in a man as your like primary like consort, because childbearing, that role has to be reserved for the one who can extend your line. So his dad is all like, look, I don't have a problem with this dude that you like. He seems like he's done stuff and he's smart and capable, but I need you to have like kids. And my dude is like, okay, say no more. So while they're in the West, so many things happens. The 6th prince sends assassins. Li Yu turns into a merman and a mermaid, and they have mermaid sex. Guys, this book was so PG for the first 2 books, and then book 3 is just like, oh, we're married now, we're having sex everywhere. It's kind of like the Bella and Edward thing in Twilight, where it's just like hand holding and kisses, and then all of a sudden it's like, bam, we got a family, because that's really what happens. They start banging, and like next thing you know, Li Yu is pregnant, and he has 4 fish babies. We get our MPreg, y'all. He has 4. He has 4 of the cutest fish babies ever. And this author is such a good author, because like I'm like, each baby has its own personality, and they go from fish babies to human babies, and it is the cutest thing ever. Let me see if I can get that pictures of the babies, because I was just like, oh my god, I did not sign up for all this fluff and all this cuteness, and now we've gone from MPreg to fish babies. Okay, well, here's a picture of when Li Yu was a mermaid. He's a merman and then a mermaid. This is when he's a mermaid. This scene was so nasty, and like, I'm just gonna say he found the hole that Prince Jing really liked. Can't believe I just said that on the internet. But yeah, there's still babies. There's still 4 babies. The cutest thing ever. And like the oldest is like totally like, I'm gonna protect my brothers, and the youngest is like just silly and klutzy like, his dad. So again, like, it's just like, you see how pitchy my voice is right now. Let me put some bass in it. So again, it's just like the cutest, fluffiest romance. But what brings the stakes into the story is all the Imperial shenanigans happening. Right now that Prince Jing has decided that he wants to fight for the throne, the sneaky Sixth Prince is just like, nah, I'm gonna have to take you down. Like, how is a mute prince gonna try and compete with me after everything I've done? And if you've read volume 1 and 2, you'll recall there was Chu Yan Yu, who was initially in the original story the prince's consort, but because Li Yu is in the story, that's no longer a thing. So this guy who was trying to sleep with Prince Jing, once he realized Prince Jing is no longer an option, decides to sleep with his dad. The Sixth Prince side piece ends up sleeping, tricks the emperor into sleeps with the emperor, and so now he's like, it's just messy. And aside from the mess, like, there are dangerous things afoot because of this. So while they're in the West, there's a lot happening. I've already mentioned the mermaid and merman switches, him having kids. They do eventually, they have a duck army to take care of a locust situation. Like, oh, look at, here's a picture of them. I wish, if I can find like better PDF pictures, I'll just put them up instead. But they eventually end up returning to the, let me see if they have them as fish babies. I don't remember. But yeah, they eventually have to go back to the imperial court, basically back home. And when they do so, like, the emperor is like super happy. He's like, well, I have no objections now. He can totally be your primary consort. You gave me 4 kids, like 4 grandkids. And like, the emperor is the happiest granddad ever. Look at them. Just look at them. Like, just freaks. Just... Prince Jing really enjoys him being like, because in his head, Prince Jing thinks he's like a spirit. He's like an immortal being. He's I think like a cat. Yeah, like a fish spirit. And, what's Lee you gonna send from the future? So yeah, it kind of works for him. So when they go back to the imperial court, shenanigans continue. There's a mystery as to who like possibly murdered Prince Jing's mother. The sixth prince is still trying to climb his way to the throne. We've got Prince Jing's cousin and his new wife. So again, so much fluff, but the stakes are there because in the imperial court, people be backstabbing. But yes, that's where we're at by the end of volume 3. I cannot wait to get my hands on volume 4 and see how these series ends. Like, I am super excited. And I've got a bonus for you guys. This is what I am currently reading. You've Got Mail, The Perils of Pigeon Post, or Post as I like to call it. And this was written by Black Egg. So this is absolutely a book. It's a romantic, it's a mature romantic comedy. A bunch of single men in ancient China in a club, ran by Pigeon Post. And I read that premise and I thought it was the most hilarious thing ever. Let me read the back. It's not easy for a man pushing 40 to meet other gay men while living on the outskirts of the great Jia kingdom. That is, until the perpetually single Wu Jingzi, forgive me if I'm not saying that correctly, catches a wind of the Peng Society for Gentlemen, a top secret club for men to meet each other and perhaps even exchange lewd ink drawings of their personal anatomy via Pigeon Post. So guys, they're basically sending dick pics across town using pigeons. That is this book. Now, when I was reading this book, I was judged so hard because people were like, oh, is there a lot of like fish fucking in there? And this is like the most wholesome, the most cute, the most fluffy, the most innocent. Like, I protect them. This, these some nasty freaks. Like, they're not, okay, let me continue. Because like, okay, this guy, Wu Jingzi, basically he's about to turn 40. He's an orphan. His parents got like killed by some storm, and it's always a goddamn storm, or mountain, or hell. But yeah, he's about to turn 40. He's single. He's just like, well, I'm going to kill my life. Like, this is kind of miserable. I don't want to continue to do this. And in the process of like the day when he was going to kill himself, he ends up meeting like this kid in town, a literal kid, 17. let me pause on a serious note here. I would like to respectfully ask authors to stop writing 17-year-olds like they're adults, because a 17-year-old is a child. I don't care if this is ancient China. Switch that to 19 if you must, but stop the under 18 thing. It's gross. Stop it. But anyway, Wu Jingzi goes into town. There's this kid who has like a food stall, and he's like, you should check out this thing. And he does. This leads to Wu Jingzi's new purpose in life, because this pigeon post, it's like they sell it to him like, yeah, you can write about yourself, your description, what you like, and like you can, date, just pen pals. And then he's like, okay, cool, here's my subscription fee. Let me know when my first order comes. So he comes into town, picks up his order, goes home. He's like, let me look through this, guys. It's nothing but dick pics. So, like, even though people write to each other, it's just primarily phallic pictures, drawings, well-drawn and extremely descriptive pictures of men's penises. Have I just lost my monetization? Please leave a like. But yeah, so there is just one problem. His favorite specimen belongs in the flesh to the notorious Guan Shanjing, a man of ill repute who is intent on thrusting himself into Wu Jingzi's world. Will their encounters become too hot for Wu Jingzi to handle, or will they find themselves both coming back for more? So yeah, it's basically like this guy, he's about to commit suicide at the age of 40, and he ends up not, and because he gets all these dick pics in the mail, and he's like, I can't believe I was about to kill myself, and I could have just been like wanking out to dick pics, and it's like I all the dick pics all the time. Life is worth living. And this guy's gonna come in the picture and basically sweep him off his feet. He's got money, which we like, because he's like a civil servant. He don't make that much. Life is not that interesting. Which again was why he was trying to kill himself in the beginning of the book. That's not funny. Suicide, got help. But yeah, I just, again, there was just one, no, I'm not showing y'all that picture. I definitely get demonetized. But I knew I wasn't ready, because all of a sudden there was one page. I've never seen so many words used to describe a penis. And I've been reading like romance novels since I was like 8. I've read Harlequins, Wolves, Humans Who Shapeshift, Trucker Guys. Telling way too much on myself right now. But never have I had an author put such prose to penis. Pen. Let me find the book for you guys. Or let me find the page for you guys. Okay. I'm only going to read like a sentence from each paragraph, because I'm not joking. All of these words, yes, dedicated to descriptions of phallic objects. Okay, the first line. The first phallus was neat and clean, the foreskin retreating to show a rounded head. The slit was pink and tender, as if it had never been used before. Second penis. The second one was a lot thicker and sturdier, its veins evident through the skin. It looked somewhat threatening, with a huge head, tapering slightly toward the root. The third penis belonged to the good-looking gentleman. It was a little smaller, not as thick and long as the previous two. However, it was very aesthetically pleasing, just like a beautiful jade carving. From the root to the tip, and even the slit, it looked exquisite, glowing with an inner warmth. It was a flawless phallus. The fourth was a little different. The foreskin was longer, covering the tip of the penis, and the slit peeked out from within. It was rather thick and long, but not as frightful as the second one. The hair at the root was lush. The artist had deliberately drawn each distinct strand. It looked wild and untamed. If one were to press it against a certain tender part of the body, it was bound to feel ticklish. The final phallus was an eye-opener. The drawings were all on sheets of the same size, but this one barely fit within the page. The cock was so colossal, I'm mature. The cock was so colossal it looked as if it might burst from the page. The balls looked weighty and full, and the head was about the size of an egg, round and sturdy. The shaft was not straight. It curved slightly upward. Yeah, so this is the book I'm currently reading. You've got mail, the Perils of Pigeon Post. So the next book I'm going to be reading about this is definitely going to be an improvement of the mind book, because this is nonsense. This is nonsense, but I love it, and that's all I've got to share to you guys. Let me know what books you guys are reading, improvement-wise, or not improvement-wise, in the comments. Like this video if you have liked it. If you're like, what have I clicked on, and you are like, I am hovering over that dislike, just go about your day. It's fine. It's fine. It's not for everyone, but yeah, outside of that, that's where I'm currently at. That's where I'm currently at. So that's all I've got for you guys today. We'll do this again soon once the shame is died down. But guess what? I have the courage in my heart to know my happiness depends solely on me. So if you guys judge me for my book choices, I don't care. See how that works? Exactly. Thank you guys for watching. We'll do this again soon.